The sun dipped low, painting the village in shades of gold and crimson. The air smelled of roasted yam and wood smoke, children's laughter drifting from nearby huts. In the middle of it all, David and Amara walked hand in hand. David, tall, strong, with rough hands from farm work but eyes full of warmth. Amara, graceful, her Ankara wrapper flowing behind her, a smile that lit up even the darkest corners. They laughed freely, teasing each other as they strode past the market stalls. Everyone in the village knew them, the inseparable couple who dreamed of a better life together. As they reached the edge of the village, Amara's voice softened. "David, do you think we'll ever leave this place? Build a life beyond these farms?" David squeezed her hand gently. "We will, Amara. I swear it. Nothing will come between us." His words hung in the air, bold and certain. But in the shadows beyond the path, two glowing eyes watched silently. Unseen. Waiting. Night fell quickly, the moon rising pale over the trees. The lovers lingered outside, walking farther than usual, their laughter echoing down the narrow trail. Amara tugged David's arm. "This way," she whispered, pointing toward a winding footpath that cut into the forest. David frowned. "That's the old hunter's road. My father warned me never to go there. They say strange things walk under those trees." Amara giggled softly. "You and your village stories. It's just a shortcut." But as they stepped into the shadows of the forest, the air grew colder. The night sounds, crickets, frogs, owls, faded into silence. A foul smell drifted between the trees, and the wind seemed to carry whispers. David stopped. "Amara, do you hear that?" Before she could answer, a low growl rumbled in the darkness. Two glowing eyes flickered again, closer this time. The couple froze. And then, from between the twisted roots, it emerged, a massive black dog, its fur matted, its teeth sharp as knives, eyes burning like fire. It did not bark. It only stared. And then it spoke. "Leave, or pay the price." David shielded Amara, his arms trembling as the monstrous dog stepped closer. Its paws barely touched the earth, as though it walked on shadow. Amara's voice shook. It speaks." The beast tilted its head, lips curling into something like a grin. Its voice thundered, echoing through the trees. "You mock the warnings of the old ones. You trespass on cursed ground, lovers who dare to defy fate." David shouted back, though fear cracked his voice. "We've done nothing wrong. We are just walking home." The dog's fiery eyes narrowed. "Love born in forbidden soil breeds ruin. For your defiance, your bond shall be tested. You shall love, but never find peace." Amara clutched David's hand, tears welling. "Please, don't hurt us. We'll leave." The beast howled, and the forest trembled. The air swirled, branches snapping, leaves scattering like a storm. Then it spoke one final time. "From this night, shadows will follow you. Where there should be joy, sorrow will creep. Where there should be laughter, pain will wait." With that, the dog vanished into black mist. Amara collapsed into David's arms, sobbing. He held her tightly, his own heart pounding with terror. Neither of them knew it yet, but the curse had already begun. The next morning, David tried to convince himself it was all a dream. He whistled as he fetched water, forcing a smile, while Amara cooked by the fire. But as he returned, the clay pot slipped from his hands and shattered on the ground, though his grip had been firm. Amara gasped. "David, what's happening?" He frowned, rubbing his palms. I don't know. It felt like something pulled it." That evening, as they shared a meal, a sudden gust blew through the house though every window was shut. The flames in the lamp flickered, forming the faint outline of a snarling dog before vanishing. Amara dropped her spoon, her face pale. "David, it's real. The curse is real." That night, she dreamed of the beast again. Its voice whispered in her ear. "You shall love, but your love will bleed." She woke screaming, clutching her chest. David held her close, trying to soothe her, but deep down, he knew the curse was tightening its grip. And in the corner of the dark room, unseen by them both, two glowing eyes watched. Days turned into weeks, and the curse revealed itself in cruel ways. When Amara fetched water, the villagers whispered behind her back. Buckets slipped from her hands, though she swore she held them tightly. Chickens died suddenly when David entered their pen. Even their harvest began to rot before ripening. Superstition spread like wildfire. Those two are cursed. They brought something evil into this village. Amara tried to smile through it, but her eyes carried a quiet fear. One evening, while pounding yam, the pestle flew from her grip and crashed through the roof. She dropped to her knees, trembling. David rushed to her. "It's not you, Amara. It's the curse. I'll protect you, I swear." But in her heart, doubt grew. Every shadow reminded her of the beast. Every accident made her wonder if their love had doomed them both. That night, as David slept soundly beside her, Amara lay awake, tears streaming, whispering to herself. Was our love a blessing or a curse? And outside, the sound of distant howling echoed through the night. The moon was full that night, glowing silver over the village. Amara stirred in her sleep, but beside her, David's body twisted. His breath grew ragged. His nails blackened and stretched into claws. Fur burst through his skin as his jaw cracked, lengthening into a snout. His screams turned to snarls. Amara jolted awake. David. But it was no longer David. A monstrous dog, larger than any beast she had ever seen, stood in the hut, eyes glowing like fire, teeth dripping with foam. She stumbled back, clutching her chest, whispering a prayer. Yet deep inside, she saw it, the faint outline of her husband's face buried within the monster. The creature howled, shaking the hut. Neighbors rushed out, holding lanterns. Shadows flickered as voices shouted. What was that sound? An evil spirit. David crashed through the door, tearing into the night, disappearing into the forest. Amara collapsed to her knees, sobbing, the truth settling in her bones. The curse was no longer whispers, no longer accidents. It had taken her husband. And the village would soon know. By morning, the village was restless. Farmers spoke of a monstrous howl that shattered the night. Hunters swore they saw glowing eyes racing through the forest, faster than any beast. At the market, whispers spread like wildfire. Something unnatural lives among us. An evil spirit roams the night. Could it be the curse of the wizard dog? Amara walked among them, her face pale, her hands trembling as she carried her basket. Every word pierced her like a blade. She knew the truth, the monster was her husband. That evening, the village elders gathered at the square. Drums beat low as the oldest among them spoke. A curse has fallen here. A beast walks under the moon. If we do not find it, it will destroy us all. The crowd murmured, fear heavy in their voices. Some demanded hunters to patrol at night. Others muttered about sacrifices to drive the spirit away. In the shadows, Amara clutched David's torn shirt, hidden beneath her wrapper. She could still smell the wildness on it. Her heart ached. She could not betray him. Not yet. But the walls were closing in. That night, David swore to Amara he would stay inside. He chained the doors, barred the windows, and wrapped himself in blankets, shaking. But when the moon rose, silver and merciless, the change came again. His skin burned, his bones cracked, his hands split into claws. The chain on the door rattled, then snapped. Amara screamed as the beast that was once her husband leapt into the night. This time, he did not run into the deep forest. Hunger drove him closer to the village. Chickens scattered, goats wailed, and a hunter who rose at the noise caught a glimpse of glowing eyes in the dark. The man froze, terror rooting him to the ground. David lunged past, brushing his shoulder with claws sharp as blades. The hunter fell, trembling, then scrambled back to the square screaming. A demon dog. A monster walks the night. Torches were lit. Drums of alarm thundered. Men grabbed spears and machetes, rushing into the night. Amara collapsed on the floor of their hut, tears streaming. She knew the hunt had begun, and if they found him, they would kill him. Torches flickered like fireflies in the dark as the villagers stormed into the night, shouting war cries. Spears glinted, machetes sliced through tall grass, and the beat of drums echoed like a heartbeat of fear. Find it, the chief hunter roared. Find the beast before it kills again. Deep in the shadows, David, no longer a man, but a raging beast, crouched low. His glowing eyes swept over the hunters. Every instinct screamed at him to attack, but a shred of his human mind fought back. He turned and vanished into the thickets, moving faster than their feet could carry them. The villagers slashed through the bushes, but all they found were claw marks on trees, paw prints in the mud, and the stench of blood. The beast had escaped. By dawn, the hunters returned, exhausted and shaken. This thing is not ordinary, one muttered. It walks like a curse. Meanwhile, Amara sat silently at her doorstep, her face pale. She knew the truth, but her lips remained sealed. If the villagers discovered that the monster was her husband, they would burn him alive. And so, she bore the weight of fear alone, as David stumbled home at sunrise, naked, bloody, and broken, whispering through cracked lips. Amara. I can't hold it in anymore. Amara wrapped David's trembling body in a cloth, wiping the blood from his face with shaking hands. His eyes were hollow, his lips cracked. Amara, he whispered, voice weak. It's killing me. I feel it inside, burning. She held his face, tears streaming. You will not die. I will not let this curse take you. That same night, while David slept, Amara slipped out quietly, carrying only a small lantern and a satchel. She walked past the village walls, heart pounding, into the forbidden forest, the same path where the wizard dog had first appeared. The deeper she went, the stranger the air became. Shadows twisted like living things, owls hooted unnaturally, and whispers floated between the trees. Still, she pressed on. At a crooked tree split by lightning, she lit her lantern and cried out. Whoever cursed my husband, show yourself. I beg you. For a moment, silence. Then, a low growl rumbled from the darkness. Two glowing eyes appeared, the wizard dog. Its voice was a deep, mocking echo. You returned to me, foolish girl. Did I not warn you? Did I not promise suffering? Amara fell to her knees, her voice breaking. Take me instead. Lift this curse from David. Please, punish me, not him. The dog's laughter rattled the trees. Sacrifice yourself. Brave, but too late. The curse has taken root. To save him, you must pay a greater price than death itself. Amara froze, heart racing. What price? The dog leaned closer, its breath hot, its teeth gleaming. You must betray him. Amara's chest tightened. She stared at the glowing eyes in the darkness. Betray him? No. I could never. The wizard dog circled her slowly, its claws scratching against the roots. You think love is enough to break a curse? Love is weakness. Only betrayal has power. Give me what I want, and your husband may live. Her hands trembled as she clutched the lantern. What do you mean? What must I do? The dog's grin widened, sharp and cruel. There is a ritual. In 3 nights' time, when the moon is highest, you must carve your husband's name upon the sacred stone, and then strike his blood into the fire. If he bleeds by your hand, the bond of love breaks. Then, and only then, will the curse be lifted. Amara's eyes widened in horror. You want me to hurt him? To spill his blood? The dog's growl deepened. Just a single wound. Not enough to kill, but enough to prove where your loyalty truly lies. Do this, and he will live. Refuse, and he will rot, body and soul. Tears blurred Amara's vision. She shook her head, her heart tearing apart. No, no, there must be another way. The dog's form shimmered, its voice echoing like thunder. You have 3 nights, woman. Choose love, and lose him. Choose betrayal, and save him. With that, it vanished into the darkness, leaving Amara alone in the cursed forest, lantern flickering, heart breaking, the sound of her own sobs echoing in the night. Amara stumbled back into the village before dawn, her face pale, her hands shaking. David rushed to meet her, relief flooding his eyes. Amara. You're safe. Where did you go? She forced a smile, but her heart was heavy. I just needed to clear my mind. But David could see the fear in her eyes. Something happened. Tell me. Amara gripped his hands tightly. She wanted to tell him everything, about the wizard dog, about the cruel choice, about the ritual. But the memory of its glowing eyes haunted her. If I tell him, he will never let me try. Instead, she whispered, nothing, my love. I'm only tired. David kissed her forehead, but even as he pulled her close, his body shuddered. The curse was spreading. His skin burned with unseen fire, his breath came in ragged gasps. By evening, he collapsed by the hearth, clutching his chest. Amara, something inside me is breaking. Tears filled her eyes as she held him. She whispered in her heart, if I don't betray him, I'll lose him. But if I do, I'll lose myself. That night, as David slept fitfully beside her, Amara stared at the moon through the window. It was already waxing, growing fuller with each passing night. The deadline drew closer. The choice hung over her like a blade. 3 nights. 3 nights to decide whether love was worth more than his life. The night was restless. The air itself seemed thicker, as though the forest had stretched its shadow into the village. David stirred in his sleep, sweating, his chest rising and falling unevenly. Amara sat awake beside him, clutching his hand, when she heard it. A growl. Low, guttural. Not from outside the door, but from everywhere at once. Her heart stopped. Slowly, she turned, and there, in the corner of the room, sat the dog. The wizard dog. Its fur rippled like smoke, its glowing eyes fixed on her. She gasped. No, not here. It bared its teeth, but no sound came. Instead, its voice slid into her mind. The moon grows fat. Time slips away. Will you pay the price, or will he die? Amara shook her head violently, tears streaming. Leave him alone. Punish me, not him. The dog stepped closer, its paws not even touching the ground. It loomed over David's sleeping form, its breath chilling the air. Your love is sweet, but love cannot break a curse. Only blood can. Before she could scream, David stirred awake. His eyes opened, and for the first time, he saw it. The dog. His face went pale. He clutched Amara's arm. What is that? The dog's grin widened. Now he knows. The secret is no longer yours alone. With a flicker, it vanished into smoke, leaving only the echo of its growl. David stared at Amara, fear and betrayal swirling in his eyes. You've seen it before, haven't you? You knew. Amara's lips trembled. The truth she had tried to hide was now laid bare. David's voice shook as he pulled himself upright, though his body trembled with weakness. Amara, tell me the truth. What is happening to me? What is that thing? Amora's eyes filled with tears. She wanted to protect him, to shield him from the horror, but there was no more hiding. The wizard dog had forced her hand. It is a curse, she whispered, her voice breaking. The wizard dog, it marks those who cross its path. It feeds on love, on the strongest bond it can find. And it chose us. David's breath caught. A curse, on us. She nodded slowly. When we first met, when I walked through that forest alone, I saw it. It followed me, it watched me. But I thought if I ignored it, it would vanish. Then you entered my life, and it bound itself to you instead. David stared, his heart pounding. So all this time, you knew. You kept this from me. Her tears spilled freely. I was afraid, David. Afraid you would leave, afraid you would never look at me the same. I prayed it would fade, but it only grew stronger. His chest heaved, torn between anger and despair. And now, it says I will die. Unless. Her voice lowered to a whisper. Unless blood is spilled. Silence fell between them. The only sound was David's ragged breathing, the weight of the curse pressing down on them both. At last, David took her hand, his eyes fierce even in his weakness. Then we fight it. Together. I will not let that creature decide our fate. But in the shadows outside their window, unseen, the dog watched, its eyes burning with hunger. That night, the air grew colder than before. The lamps flickered, and the sound of claws scraped against the walls. David clutched his chest, the curse tightening like a rope around his ribs. He gasped, falling to his knees. Amara rushed to him. David. From the doorway, a low growl thundered. The wizard dog emerged, its eyes glowing like fire, its shadow stretching across the room. Time is almost gone, it growled, voice echoing like 1,000 whispers. One of you must bleed, or both shall fall. Amara stood between David and the beast, her trembling hands clutching a kitchen knife. You will not take him, she shouted. The dog tilted its head, mocking her defiance. Then take his place. Offer yourself. Prove your love, and the curse will break. David's eyes widened, his breath ragged. No, Amara. Don't listen. He struggled to rise, but the curse dragged him down again. The beast growl deepened, its form swelling larger, the ceiling trembling as it spoke. Choose before the next full moon. Or love will devour you both. With that, the dog dissolved into smoke, leaving the room heavy with its stench and the sound of David's painful breathing. Amara dropped to her knees, the knife shaking in her grip. She had only one thought. To save him, she may have to die. Amara sat awake long after David had fallen into a restless sleep. The knife still lay on the table, its blade catching the glow of the candlelight. Her mind raced. I won't let him die. I won't let that monster win. She pulled out an old wooden box from under the bed. Inside were her grandmother's charms, cowrie shells, dried herbs, and a folded cloth marked with strange symbols. Her grandmother had once whispered of ancient protections, ways to fight back against spirits that preyed on the living. Amara lit incense, whispering the old words she barely remembered. Spirit of fire, spirit of light, show me a path. The candle's flame trembled. Then, the smoke swirled and formed the shape of a dog's head, not the cursed beast, but something gentler. A guardian spirit. Its voice came faintly. Blood is power. But so is sacrifice of will. Trick the cursed one, bind him with his own hunger. Amara's eyes widened. It can be trapped. At dawn, she hid the charms in her clothes. She smiled softly at David as he stirred awake. Rest, my love. I'll find a way. But David's hand caught hers, weak but firm. Amara. I know what you're planning. Don't. I won't let you give yourself up for me. She kissed his forehead, but in her heart, she had already chosen. The next full moon was approaching. And she would face the wizard dog even if it meant walking into death. The night came heavy with silence. The moon rose, swollen and red, casting its glow across the village. Drums from a distant festival echoed faintly, but in the couple's heart, only fear breathed. David sat on the floor, his hands clutching his chest. His body trembled with the curse's grip, eyes bloodshot, veins darkening as though poisoned. Each beat of the drum outside seemed to pound inside his skull. Amara knelt before him, tying a red cloth around his wrist. "This will hold the spirit back, just long enough," she whispered. The hut exploded with chaos. The fire in the hearth roared higher, though no one touched it, casting monstrous shadows that writhed like living things. Amara stood firm, her hands glowing faintly as the charms ignited in midair, circling around her like tiny stars. Each spark pushed back the darkness, but the wizard dog lunged forward, its body stretching unnaturally, jaws wide enough to swallow her whole. David, still weak, forced himself onto his knees. His chest burned, every breath a knife, but he clenched his fist and shouted, "You will not take her." With trembling arms, he grabbed a fallen piece of wood from the fire, the flames licking dangerously close to his skin. He staggered forward and thrust it toward the beast. The wizard dog shrieked, not in pain from the fire, but from the courage that fueled it. Its form faltered, parts of its shadowy body flickering like smoke caught in the wind. Amara seized the moment. Raising both hands, she cried out in the old tongue her grandmother had taught her. "Spirits of the earth, of fire, of blood, bind this evil, cast it to the void." The charms in the air pulsed, exploding in waves of light that struck the beast. The wizard dog writhed, howling, its eyes blazing like twin suns of hatred. "You think you can banish me," it roared. "I was here long before you. I will return long after your bones have turned to dust." But even as it screamed, its body cracked like glass under a hammer. David stumbled to Amara's side, clutching her hand. Together, their voices rose, one in raw defiance, the other in sacred incantation. And for the first time, the wizard dog's howl was not of rage, but of fear. The first rays of dawn slipped through the broken shutters, painting the room gold. For the first time in weeks, the couple breathed without fear. David held Amara close, feeling her heartbeat against his chest. His own body ached, but the crushing weight that had followed them, the dread, the shadows, the whispers, was gone. Amara's voice was soft, trembling but steady. "It's over, isn't it?" David nodded slowly, though his eyes lingered on the black scorch mark in the center of the floor. "Yes. We faced it, and we survived." The hut felt different now. Lighter. Even the birds outside had returned, singing cautiously as though the world itself had been healed. Amara reached for David's hand, squeezing tightly. "You didn't give up. Even when it felt hopeless." He managed a weak smile. "Neither did you. Your faith, it saved us." For a long moment, they sat together, watching the light grow stronger, chasing away the last fragments of night. Their bodies were weak, their hearts scarred, but they had won. Yet as the wind brushed through the open window, it carried with it a faint smell of ash, and somewhere in the distance, a dog barked. Their victory was real. But the shadow of the curse was not entirely gone.